We're John and Amy, and we're the hosts of the Totally Worth It podcast. We love to share stories that from the outside look like sad stories. But when you really hear the stories about the families and the joy and the purpose and the impact that they have, you learn that they're not sad stories.
They're happy stories. And while we're listening to those stories, we can learn how to better serve and better love those in the special needs
All
community.
the stories are going to bring joy and value to your day.
Hopefully make you laugh a little bit.
And welcome to the Totally Worth It podcast.
Have fun.
Lozano is joining us today. Welcome, Allie, to the Totally Worth It podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
We are so happy to have you. So I personally know Allie. John, this is a new conversation for John, but Allie...
I never met her. Right now, we're meeting.
See? Allie's twin sister, Ashley, is near and dear to my heart. She is a friend of mine from Blue Sky. So I've known Ashley and Allie and her entire family for years. Gosh, probably 6 or 7, 8 years now. So Allie's twin sister, Ashley, has autism. And so we just wanted to talk with Allie today, just, not just from a sibling standpoint, but from a twins standpoint, which I think is a whole different ball of wax. Wouldn't you think, Allie?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So tell us about you and Ashley's relationship. Like I said, twins are like next level. Do you and Ashley have that?
I would say that we wouldn't have the typical twin bonds because like how we dress up the same every day or it's not like how I have a lot of friends that are twins, especially here in college. It's kind of weird how we all kind of meet each other, but from what I've seen from other people just growing up and other twins knowing that I've known growing up, we have a different type of bond. I would say we have more of a, we kind of have like twin telepathy, like we know when each other's in pain. It's really, really weird. But then we also, Ashley's not a very social person to me, so we don't really have that deep connection where I can't go to her for all my problems like most twins would be able to.
Right.
But we do have that really weird twin telepathy problem, or not problem, but twin telepathy connection.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Have you seen it even since you've been away at school?
Kind of. I remember I was away, it was last semester, I think, and it just was not a good semester, and it was really weird because Ashley had come and visit me right at the beginning of when my semester was not going so well, and it was weird because she was saying that my mom could say that she was talking to me, because she'll talk to me in the kitchen by herself, or just it's just really weird. She'll just be by herself and she'll just talk to me when there's no one else in the room, and that's how you can kind of tell that we're kind of communicating. It's weird. I won't be in my room talking back to her, but I can definitely sense her calling me or just something. It's just really weird. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's just, we have that twin telepathy type thing. Another example is one time I had gotten hurt and I had to go to the hospital, and my sister was in her babysitter's kitchen, literally talking to no one. Mm-hmm. And she was like, Allie, are you okay? And my babysitter was kind of freaked out. She's like, what is she talking about? There's no one there. And later on in the day, my mom had called babysitter saying, hey, Allie had to go to the hospital. And she's like, oh my gosh. Ashley was talking to herself, but it was like she was talking to Allie when she wasn't even there. So it was just, it's a little freaky, but I think it's really cool.
That is amazing. I know this is your sophomore year in college, correct? I know when you went away to college for the first time, Ashley had a really hard time. I was with her many times after that, and it was hard. What did you see during that time? Or what did you feel, or what did you hear from your family, I guess?
I just heard from my family, and I felt so bad. They told me it's probably one of the worst experiences of her, freaking out. She's freaked out over people before in the past, where she's talked about friends that have left to go to college. But when it came to me, it was the worst my family's ever dealt with. Like, it was 24/7 constant asking, where's Allie, where's Allie, where's Allie? Like,
Yeah.
why can't I go to college? Why can't, like, it was all those questions she was asking, and it was over and over and over again. Like, you give her an answer, that wouldn't be good enough for her.
Yeah.
And I just feel so bad because that was probably the hard, like, me not being able to be there and give her that support and talk to her and just tell her, like, I'm here for you. I'm not here physically, but I'm here for you. Like, you can call me anytime. She chooses not to, by the way, but like, at that point, it was just so bad. And I remember my mom would call me, and it would just be, she would say it was so bad. I felt so bad because I think they just added a whole lot more stress just onto the family already than there really needed to be. But I mean, I remember I'd go to work and I'd talk about it to my friends and being like, I feel so bad. Like, I wanted to go home. I was thinking, like, college, I'd be able to go home a lot of weekends, but turns out I wasn't. I have a lot of homework on the weekends. And, like, that was my plan. I wanted to go home and visit her so that it wouldn't be as bad. I mean, I kind of had intuition.
It might have made it worse, though,
Yeah.
the separation all over again.
Maybe.
I know she was having some aggressive, bouts. What do you call it? Mabry does the same things, but I know it got so much worse during that time. But she seems to be doing better now.
Yes, she does. Yeah. She's currently in a group home now. We were lucky enough to find an opening for her to live in a group home, and that's what we call her college. So
yeah, so Ashley got to go to college too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We call it her college now.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Ellie, how long did it last of her really having a tough time with you gone to college?
So I moved in early. I moved in 3 weeks early. So maybe like the middle of July all the way up until probably January.
Oh my gosh. So it was a 6 or 7 month period. It wasn't, she was in a bad shape for a week or two. It was
it was constant questions and constant anger, and it was just constant, she was just really upset all the time, and there was nothing you could do to change it. Like, I would call her and I'd be like, Ashley, I'm here for you. Like, you can call me anytime, and maybe I'll come home this weekend and maybe I won't be able to, but like, I'm here for you. Like, it's okay. And just even that wasn't reassuring enough for her to kind of understand, to kind of be like, oh, like, why can't I go to college? And that was the number one thing. I don't think it was more of a separation anxiety. I think that had a part to play, but I think it was her feeling that she wasn't, quote unquote, what we consider normal, and that she wasn't able to go to college. And that's like the thing.
Do you think that's the first time she's realized, like, you guys weren't here?
Yeah, I think, I saw a little bit of it when I first started driving. She's like, I'm older than Allie. I'm 16 too. Why can't I drive? And my mom had to explain to her, because you can't drive. And my mom didn't really give her like an explanation why. She was just like, you just can't, Ashley. But that was like the first little, like, she kind of got over that after like 2 or 3 days, and was fine with me driving her around because she could just sit in the back and play on her iPad or whatever.
Right.
But like, this was the most I've ever seen her so upset about not feeling accepted or not feeling like she's, quote unquote, normal, what we consider normal.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm going to change gears.
Okay, hold on just a second. I work with lots of people like Ashley, and I deal with them saying, oh, I'm going to get my own apartment, or, oh, I'm going to learn how to drive when I'm this old. Without crushing their dreams, like, what's the best way for us to be realistic with them? That's what's so, because I don't want to tell them they can't do something, but,
it's also from like a parent aspect. How do you tell your kid, like, you're not going to be able to do that? Like, that, I think that was the hardest thing on my mom personally, was like, you're not going to go to college. Like, I'm really sorry. And you're not going to be able to drive. Like, that's things that most people that they see in their classes, they see doing that. And they're like, well, why can't I do it? Because they have that mentality, like, you know what? I'm like everyone else. And like, I think it's really sad that we have to break their hearts like that. It's the saddest thing.
Yeah. Your mom came up with an awesome solution, though. It sounds like it worked for everybody. It stinks that it was in the middle of a quarantine and now we can't see Ashley.
Yeah.
But I think that that was an awesome solution for her, really.
Mhm.
All right, Johnny.
Ellie, you mentioned earlier that you guys have this close, tight bond as twins, but probably not the same connection that a lot of twins share because of the sharing of emotions and talking to each other. Do you think that, I mean, it seems apparent that you can't go to her with that stuff, but do you think that you are her person, like most twins would have that person? Do you think that she feels that in you and you just can't necessarily give it back?
I
You
definitely
think that's
do.
the case?
I definitely do feel like I am her person. Like if she ever has a problem, she'll always, I mean, at least when I was at home, I mean, now that I'm not at home, she doesn't really talk to me as much as she used to, but she definitely relied on me for a lot of things for many years, whether that be making her food, helping her in the shower, helping her use the bathroom, or even like if she had questions about friends at school, or just trying to understand kind of basic things like why is this way, why is this that way, and stuff like that. Not kind of like, I mean, I would say most twins kind of have like the relationship, like not like if they're dating people, they kind of can go to them and be like that, but she doesn't really have that, so it's kind of more like trying to understand the world for her, and I'm kind of that person that tries to explain to her how the world kind of works and how to
Yeah.
perceive
Yeah.
it.
Have you seen, y'all have a younger brother, Nico, also, who we love. Has Nico had to kind of pick up the slack a little bit with helping, I guess you could say? Yeah.
I definitely think that he has, and I would say he's doing a pretty good job considering, I mean, he didn't really take care of her for many years. It was mainly just me, and I was mainly Ashley's backbone for a lot of things, but I think he's done a pretty good job with picking up from where I left off and kind of Ashley being able to realize there's not just one person that she can go to, now there's two. But I think that he's done a really good job at picking up where I left off for that.
Yeah.
Because he's able to, I mean, before Corona, he was able to see her every weekend.
Right.
And be able to do things. And soon he's going to be driving, so hopefully he'll be able to, I mean, right now she can't really go out because of Corona, but also that's one thing that we used to do on the weekends. Me and her would go out and do stuff. I remember one summer when I first started working, I literally drove all over, because we like to go to antique shops. We like to find like old little things, and me and Ashley would just go, because she loved it. She loved going to antique shops, and she just loved riding with me and just doing. She liked to do the same things that I did, because she liked to feel what she would consider normal.
I love that.
That actually, go ahead. You go ahead.
We're too close. John and I will always say the two heroes in our books are special needs siblings and like teachers of special needs, or those who choose to work with special needs, like, because it's a choice for them.
Yeah.
And so thank you. I mean, just thank you for being Ashley's backbone, just like you said. It's important work. We see it in our boys. And it's not easy, and we know that.
It definitely isn't. Like, I mean, I would say that there used to be a really big stigma with people with disabilities, just even 10 years ago.
Right.
Like, I remember I was like in elementary school and I'd get made fun of for having a sister that was disabled, and like at the time I kind of didn't understand why they were making fun of me, and I mean now I do, because they're like, oh, she's different, we don't like people that are different, but like now I'm like, whatever, I don't care. Like, I embrace people that are different.
Yeah. So can you think of any
Amy, I have a question.
Fine. Okay.
It's my turn.
Sorry. Go. Okay, go.
Ali, you've talked about this a little bit, but I want to know more about what Ashley is like and how you guys are alike, how you're different, the things that you like to do together. You mentioned antique shopping and things like that, but as far as twins go, how are you alike? How are you not alike? Give us some ideas of y'all's personalities.
She is a very extroverted person, and I am not. I'm the complete opposite of her. She will go up to anybody and talk to anyone and like have a full-on conversation. She's also the type of person that will not lie to you. Like if she got something on her mind to tell you, she'll tell you. She will not sugarcoat it one bit.
No filter.
No filter, no. Um, but I am definitely more of the introvert of the family just in general. Like my brother's a big extrovert as well, but Ashley is such a big extrovert. Like we have an example, like my parents always knew when we were younger that I was going to be the introvert and my sister was going to be the extrovert. Like an example is we went to Disney World one time and Ashley got up on stage and started dancing with people. And I was like jealous. I was like, why is she getting all this attention? And then I got up on stage and there's like a picture of it. I can like send it to you guys, but there's like a picture of me just like standing there angrily and like barely dancing, and she's having like a good time, and I'm just like shy and like I don't want to be up here, but I want some of the attention too. And I would definitely say that's like one of the biggest personality traits that we have that are very different is that she's very, very, very extroverted, and
Yeah.
I definitely am not. I'm more of an introvert. I love staying in. I love being to myself. She, complete opposite. Another thing is, something that's like we're really similar is we both enjoy like artistic avenues, which I have no idea how we both got this type of like how we got creative, because both our parents are not creative at all. So we both enjoy drawing, we both enjoy coloring and
Ashley's drawings are amazing too. John,
she
she can draw, she draws people, okay, all of her people, and they all look the same except for like the characteristics. I have some of them at home, and so we'll link them, but I just think it's so amazing because they all have the same shape, but then the glasses or the hair or the clothes or something.
small details.
Yes, and she's amazing. And she can draw like 20 people and not move. Like she loves it. We have to like move her out from drawing because it's such a calming thing for her.
Yeah, she really enjoys drawing. And like I remember one time there was like a 5 or 6 day period one time where she literally would come home from school, wouldn't want a snack, which is really unusual for her, but she would come home and she'd sit at the kitchen table. I say, hey, Ashley, you want a snack? She's like, no. And she'd just start drawing. And she'd have like stacks of papers, and the way she organizes them is she has blank pieces of paper, but then she'll like say their name on the paper so she knows who it is.
Yeah.
It's really, really interesting, her thought process of her going through, because it kind of gives you kind of like an inside look into how she thinks. I thought it was really interesting as to how she does. She doesn't write their names on it. She just like names the papers, and that's how she would draw them in order.
That's right.
Really interesting.
And don't even think about getting those papers out of order.
Oh no, oh no.
Or I remember one time I gave her some drawing paper, and then so she had this stack of drawing papers. So she's there, and so she's coloring on top of a stack of drawing paper, and somebody else asked for a piece of drawing paper, and I was like, Ashley, can we get one of those from underneath? And I mean, I was like, my bad. I'm going to go over here and get some different, like.
I'm going to go over here and chop down a tree and whittle some paper.
I'm going to go make some pulp real quick. But it's because she already had those papers named. Like, she knew who she was going to draw. And so, my bad. Like, I learned really, really fast.
And it's the same people over and over again. It's people that are really important to her in her life. Like literally, like in that 6 days, she drew the same people over and over again. Like we really had like a huge stack of papers all over the table because we were not touching them. But it was she already has a name. I think it's like really like an interesting way to see like an insight into how she thinks, because I don't really get that a whole lot from her, from whenever like we're home and stuff. I don't really get to see, like, even when we were at school, I wasn't really allowed to be in the classroom, but I think it's really interesting to kind of see how her brain works and organizes things like that.
Well, and two, what I love about it is that, you know, when she starts to get upset or escalate or something like that, that drawing is self-soothing for her. So it's like, I find it so mature and such a growth from where she's come, because she's able to say, hey, you know, like get in her world and draw to calm herself down. And I think that's such it shows such growth and, maturity.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when we were little, maybe like 6 or 7 years old, she used to just get angry and she didn't know how to express how or what was making her upset. And we were going to like a speech therapist at this time to kind of help her with that, because she would just say random words and then would get angry, and when maybe know that she was like really angry and she started biting herself. And one thing that I was always like, why is she like hurting herself? And it doesn't make sense. And like apparently a lot of people in the autistic community or just disabled community in general, it's they do that for self-soothing. It makes them feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And she would do that a lot, and just to see her be like, I just need to go, and I need to go, like, or not even telling anybody, she'll just go and she'll go sit down and you can tell she's upset.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because she used to just have meltdowns anywhere. She wouldn't really tell us why she's upset, but she just have them anywhere. But now she can kind of take her, like if she's angry, she can go take herself away into a different situation and set herself down and start doing what makes her feel better.
Yeah. And that shows such dedication from your mom, and it's so much work and that's gone into that, because that takes a lot. But one of my favorite is when she's mad, her people have eyebrows that go like
yeah.
Oh, gotcha, Ashley. Okay, we know how you're feeling, because they just go like from here to here.
Yeah. Eyebrows.
So funny. John?
The next question is yours. I think you're on number 3.
I'm sorry, let me pull it up. Oh, okay. I did want to ask, Allie, you've talked some about growing up and being in therapies and stuff like that. With our boys, we know there's already been times that are going to stick out to them in adulthood, the cops were called on us at a, theme park one day, because Mabry was acting a fool. That's what we call it. But, is there a specific time you can think of that just sticks out to you of like almost maybe embarrassment or fear of not knowing how things were going to turn out? Anything like that?
Yes. So my parents got divorced when we were about 8 years old, and that really affected the way that Ashley was able to communicate how she felt about people, and also like kind of how me leaving her college, she has that separation anxiety. I really feel like that started from there when my parents got divorced and my dad wasn't around as much. Mm-hmm. But when we had moved back to Texas, because we used to live in Kentucky, when we moved back to Texas, my mom she was a single parent. She was trying really hard to find somewhere that would accept Ashley as being someone with special needs, and it's really, really hard to find just even a daycare that will take someone with special needs. Mm-hmm. And we went to our daycare that we had went to when we were really little, before we had moved to Kentucky, and they took her. But the one time that we were only there for about a week, and there was one time where Ashley, when she used to get upset, she used to strip herself naked, and she stripped herself naked in the by the playground, and they had to literally force everyone else to get back inside the building and try and calm her down. Like they would, like I was there, I understand how she works, and I was like, I can offer like my help to help her calm down, because I kind of know how to do that. And they didn't want me being out there seeing that, but I was like, I'm kind of used to this. But I remember she had stripped down naked, and my mom was like really, really worried, because she got a call. She had to leave work early and come pick us up, and basically said that they can't have Ashley there anymore. And that was probably one of the most, I would say, embarrassing things. I mean, she did some things in like middle school. I mean, someone has a sibling with special needs, I kind of feel like, just even 10 years ago, how I said earlier that there was a stigma of people with disabilities, I used to be like, I'm gonna be real honest, I used to be embarrassed of her all the time. Like, why do I have to deal with this? Why do I have to have this burden on my life? Like, I mean, it's not a burden, but why did this have to be my life,
Sure, yeah.
And I remember another example of her being embarrassing and just me being stupid and young and not understanding was, in middle school, we had just moved from Texas, and we were coming to this new school, and I was trying to make new friends, and I didn't want anybody to know that she was my sister because, my school I was bullied because she was my sister, and I didn't want to be bullied, and I wanted to try to find new friends, and she would come to lunch with me because we had the same lunch, and she'd come to the lunchroom and try to sit next to me, and I didn't want her to sit next to me. I'd tell her I don't want her to sit next to me. I want her to leave me alone and to just go away. I look back on that now, and I'm so ashamed because that what other people said about me and said about her affect how I treated her, and I completely regret ever doing that. But I feel like with a lot of special needs people or a lot of special needs siblings, they kind of go through that because, they were bullied, or, I know some people that were bullied because their sibling was special needs, because they had extra responsibility that they had to do.
Yeah.
Like, I used to not be able to go out with my friends, and they wouldn't understand why. Like, why can't you come to my birthday party? I said, well, because I have to take care of my sister this day. Like, I'm sorry, I really wish I could come, but I have other things I have going on. And that's probably when I started realizing, probably 7th and 8th grade, when I started realizing, you know what? Family before anything else. And, but.
I love that, Allie, really.
Yeah.
And John and I can see that our boys have done stupid things, I'm sure, but you guys are going to be the most amazing adults for sure.
Yeah. And Allie, I bet that's something that every sibling goes through. It's absolutely nothing to be ashamed of, because childhood is hard anyway.
Yeah.
For everybody, childhood is hard, and you're trying to figure out your way. And so I remember, a season, watching Jack go through a season like that, where he went from Mr. Protective to, I'm not sure, maybe I should be embarrassed, back to the loving brother that he is. I've got to believe that's something that every sibling goes through. So thank you for sharing that, because
we're still working on Slater.
But I think that there's people listening that need to hear that. So thank you for sharing, because it's not anything to be ashamed of. I think it's a part of reality that every family probably deals with. And, there's no training on how to be a parent, and there's sure no training on how to be a child.
No.
Allie, what's something that you would want people to know about siblings with special needs? You just shared some of it. You shared some of the embarrassing moments, some of the hard moments. What else is there that you would want people to know about what happens within the household, what happens within the family dynamics? What is going on in your mind right now about adulthood? What is it like?
First off, I want to say is, I think, like you guys kind of mentioned, I feel like people who have to raise people with disabilities, they become the best adults because they know how to deal with so many different types of situations. Like, I've been told, just being here in the year that I've been here in college, I've been told by many people that I know how to deal with a lot of hard situations. And I was like, this isn't hard for me. I've kind of grown up with these type of crazy situations that people are doing in college, but I've kind of grown up with having to deal with rough or hard situations that happen in life. I would say that another thing that you said was the family dynamic. I would say that we can get really, really close, but then also we can get really, really distant if, like I said, before, I used to not be able to go to just events that you would typically be able to do whenever you're a teenager. And I would get really, really upset about it because I was like, well, again, why do I have to do this? Why do I always have to sacrifice my time to always take care of Ashley? But you know what? In the end, she's my family. And that's the one thing that keeps me, that reminds me of why I'm doing, why I skipped out on that. Honestly, I'm kind of happy I did. Some of those people I'm not even friends with anymore. So there's no point. My sister's always going to be my sister. She's always going to be there for me. So, I would say that we've definitely gotten into arguments about that stuff, but we're a pretty tight family. There's nothing, even our parents divorced, there was nothing that could break us apart.
Yeah, that's awesome. What you talked a little bit about it, or maybe John mentioned a little bit about adulthood. What do you hope for Ashley's future? Do you ever see her leaving the group home? Do you ever see her getting a job? What what would be your dreams for her?
So for all those questions, yes. I envision that she will be able to leave that group home. I envision that she'll be able to get a job. I envision that she'll be able to just feel like a quote unquote normal person that she deserves, that she gets the, like she deserves to feel like. I and just like even in the past 5 years, companies are starting to hire people with disabilities. There's a Whataburger right by my house, or right by where I work, where this girl with Down syndrome, she works and she does an excellent job. She's never messed up my order once. And you know what? It's like these people can do the same things that we can do. There was a guy.
Those with autism and their attention to detail, that like there is totally a place in the workforce for them, for sure.
Definitely. And like I worked with a guy who actually, he worked with me at Kroger. He doesn't work at the same Kroger anymore. He works at a different Kroger now, but he has autism. He's on the spectrum. He's not as low functioning as Ashley, but he is definitely high functioning. And he went to college. He got a whole degree in meteorology. Like he was able to do that.
Wow.
He went to OU. He has a job. He's making money. He's successful. I don't think he knows how to drive, but he went to college and got a degree and has a job. Like, I just feel like we as society have put this label on them that they can't do anything to contribute to society. And it's completely wrong. Like, they can contribute just as much as a lot of other people can. They have different, just the way they think can bring different, like they can bring different things to the table. Like they think so outside the box that they can bring new ideas to things. And I imagine in about 20, 30 years, maybe less than that, I imagine Ashley having a job, having her own place to live, and she's able to live in it and not really have a whole lot of help.
Are you going to live next door?
Maybe
Yeah.
just in case.
Maybe.
But I mean, I'm going to tell you this, but the main reason I'm coming to college, I was studying architecture, but now I've changed my major to construction management technology, or construction engineering technology, changed the name. My goal in life has to do with everything that has to do with Ashley. My goal in life is to build sustainable, affordable homes for people with disabilities. I mean, there's homes for people with disabilities, but they're not affordable. There's no way my sister could afford to live at, what's that place, 70, whatever that acres place is in Dallas.
29 acres.
There's definitely no way she'd be able to live there. But that's my goal. The whole reason I'm in college, like I've told I have a mentor here who's a professor of architecture here. I told her my plan. She's like, I think you're going to be able to do it. I really do. There's a need for it. And I mean, not that I want to make a whole lot of money off of that. I really want it to be a nonprofit, because I don't think that you should profit off of people being vulnerable and not being able to afford that. I just want to see people accept them, let them have a place for them to be able to be themselves and be able to live sustainably and kind of on their own, to where they can kind of feel that they have their own, like they're a grown-up, like how their siblings are. And I mean, that's my goal in the future. I want to make one in Dallas, affordable home for people with disabilities.
Could you reserve Mabry a spot? That'd be awesome.
Definitely.
Hey, when you're ready, these two people right here, we're on your side, because that is so needed.
It is. And people,
self-pay facilities should not look any different from Medicaid facilities or state. Yeah, like that is totally like, yes. I love it.
That's my whole goal in life. Like, Ashley has made such an impact on my life, and just the whole special needs community as a whole has made such a positive impact on my life, that I see that there's a need. I mean, just especially like the past 2 or 3 years, just trying to find somewhere for Ashley to live, it really opened my eyes to that there's really, I mean, we're not even like low income, we're middle income, and it's hard for us to find a house for her or find her somewhere to live that's decent. And like, what everyone thinks about is like, if you put them in a home, they're like, oh, it's like a hospital. And like, I really want to kind of change that narrative, because hospitals aren't, I mean, that's where a lot of low income people have to put their children, because that's the only way they can afford it. And I just from all the videos and all the news stories I've heard from it, it's just terrible because they don't have the people that work there just don't have the right training. I just want to change that whole industry because it can really be a lot better than it is. And I think that's because, like I said, the society as a whole kind of neglects them and doesn't look at them as human or whatever. But I want to change that whole system and make it to where it's a place that them and their families can call home.
Yes.
Because, like, why can't they have a home? Why do they have to go to a hospital? That's so insane to me.
Mm-hmm. Y'all, this girl is on fire. So any of y'all who need somebody who's a go-getter, who's ready to start this process, maybe they're a little bit further down the line than you, look at our show notes, get Allie's information, and let's get this rolling. Because you've got the ear right now, Allie, of a lot of people. Well, our moms are listening, but other than that, like, let's make this happen. Absolutely. So needed.
It is.
Allie, do you see yourself being, in the future, in way into adulthood, do you think you will be Ashley's primary caregiver? And are you mentally and emotionally prepared to do that whenever that time comes?
So yes, my mom has already started filling out paperwork for whenever eventually the time it comes for my mom to pass away, that I will be Ashley's primary caregiver. I've always been told that I will be her primary caregiver. I mean,
were you ever asked, or was it just kind of understood?
It was kind of just understood. I mean, just from like from when my parents got divorced, I've always been taking care of her since I was younger. So it was just kind of like, you know what, you've been given this role and you kind of have to roll with it.
Yeah.
No matter how I felt about it. And I mean, I wouldn't say, like, now going into adulthood and just coming to college and kind of having that freedom that I didn't really have in high school and in middle school. I don't know if I'm like mentally ready yet, but I feel that when the time comes, I will be, because it'll be my duty to take care of her. I don't feel like now, like if it were to happen tomorrow, like, let's pray to God it doesn't happen tomorrow, but if it were, I don't think I'd be ready. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out what my life is going to be and what I'm going to try to do to improve the world. I mean, everyone wants to improve the world, but I mean, like, I have a clear vision of what I really want to do to help people, but I'm still trying to figure that out. Like, I'm still trying to figure out life just like everybody else. But I do feel that if the time comes, and when the time comes, I don't think I'll be happy about it, but you know what? She's my sister.
Yep.
She's my family. I have to, who else will do it? No one else will do it. So it will have to be me. So.
Yeah.
You'll be good at it.
You'll be amazing at it, for sure. All right, are we ready for the last question, Jenna?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then after your last question, Amy, I want to say something to end it.
Okay. End it. Allie, this isn't on your list. I mean, a list of questions, but I always ask at the end of an interview,
Okay.
what is something, it could be an app, or it could be a new product, or it could be a TV show, I don't know, but just something that's been a game changer for you. Like, what is something that, and it doesn't have to relate to Ashley, it doesn't have to relate to college, it can just be anything.
Okay.
Like mine's discount flowers at Kroger, you know? Like, I love that. That's my favorite.
That's mine too.
Whatever.
Because your flowers are now always discounted. That's a game changer for me.
No, I mean, so it can be something just that simple.
Okay. I mean, well, I don't know, this sounds really weird, but I kind of relate everything in my life back to my sister, just because that's something I just know how to relate to. So anytime I have a problem with something, I kind of relate it back to Ashley. But I would say the, like, best thing right now, I don't know if you've ever seen this show on Netflix called Atypical.
Yeah, we have seen a couple. I think we've seen a couple of episodes, but
that's not where they date. Is that where they date?
No, that's Love on the Spectrum. Have you seen that, Allie?
I have not. I actually want to watch it. I haven't had time to watch it because I've been doing school, but I do want to start watching it when.
Well, you put those school books down and you start watching.
Okay. I will have to.
Sorry,
Horrible
Lisa, I
advice.
didn't say that. So atypical. Yeah, we have seen a couple episodes, but we haven't watched the whole thing. So it's
I
good.
would say, I mean, just like I said, a few years ago, people were still making fun of people with disabilities. To have a show that kind of shows the inner workings of how someone with autism work. I mean, he's really in the show. The main character, I can't remember his name. He's really high functioning. He has a job. He goes to school. But having a show based off like the main character is autistic, and then basically his life, it kind of shows. It's one of those shows that shows. Like I tell my friends, I was like, this show is literally my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's able to explain like how people who have autism work, people who have family members that have, or just that, not autism, but just people with disabilities in general. But people, like it's just able to that show's just able to communicate so well how people with special needs are able to, like their family lives and stuff like that, and how they like one of the episodes is the son starts dating, and like that's something that not a lot of people think about when people with people who have special needs. They don't really think about, oh, maybe they might want a relationship.
Yeah.
They talk about that in that show, and it's just, I don't know, it's just like one of the best shows that is able to communicate to people that don't have someone in their family that is special needs.
I love that. And what I like about that show and like Love on the Spectrum versus like Rain Man and Good Doctor, which it's not a savant. It's not following like the savant autism cases. Like they're showing the quirkiness, they're showing, some would call strange characteristics of those with autism. So I think they're really doing a better job of showing real life.
Yeah.
Now when one starts stripping naked and running around the playground, we'll be good to go. Maybe we need to start the TV show. I don't know. You hear that, Annie? You hear that? We're ready. Bring it on. If Annie is listening. Are you listening?
Well, Ali, you may be an introvert, but I can tell you that you are loud and passionate and on fire when it gets to talking about your sister. And I love that. And everybody sees that. And like you light up. You don't know that. And I'm just watching you on the screen and I see you light up. And especially when it comes to advocating for her and her future and her adulthood. So keep that up. You are going to do huge things. You are going to have a tremendous impact. Not only right now, you're having an impact for anyone around you that's at college, and they're seeing your maturity. They're seeing you go after what you want. When you get out of college, you're going to have a huge impact. And like Amy said, we're going to be right here wanting to partner up with you. We're in because we need somebody like you to take charge. And we want to get behind that, and we'll rally the troops. We'll help you find other people, and you're going to do huge things. So thank you for sharing your heart. Thank you for sharing your passion. And I know that you just fired up a lot of people that heard your story.
Oh gosh, thank you guys so much. Like, I mean, I don't really hear that a lot from people because, I mean, I don't know, people like, I've definitely got my ideas shot down by people that are like, it's never going to work. You're not going to ever make money from it. But I mean, just hearing you guys, and I mean, we can all relate because we do have someone with special needs, but it touched my heart to hear someone say that, like, all my hard work is gonna pay off in the end, and that it's me sacrificing a lot of my time to take care of my sister is gonna change the world. Like, I'm like really honored and touched to hear that from you guys.
Oh, you're so sweet. That's awesome. Well, put those school books down and go watch some Netflix.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Wasn't I amazing?
Bye-bye.
I think that was my best one yet.
Whatever is the easiest way for you to find us, podcast or YouTube, just subscribe.
Just come knock on the door. You can do that too.
Have dinner with us. You can take Mabry with you.
If you're nice. Go ahead and leave us a review also.
Leave us a review. You never know. You might just get it in front of somebody that really needed to hear the message.
But if you're going to be mean, just private message us.
Actually, don't message us at all.
Gone. Go on. Get out of here. We don't need you.
Thank you for watching and listening to the Totally Worth It podcast. We appreciate you.